Hey, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? All right, let's go and cover the market real quick. See what's going on. All right. So, with that being said, we have BTC, and now I finally see the formation. Didn't see it before. So we have, obviously higher pressure trying to move up, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. The higher lows are significantly higher than the higher highs. Higher highs are degrading, which is kind of moving into what we would call here. What would we call this? What kind of wedge would we call this? Well, we would call this a ascending wedge, right? The technical terminology, I believe, is a incline wedge, right? And I think an ascending is technically flat top, run in. So we'll call this an incline. So with an incline wedge, atypical, atypical. I can't make it any more obvious. I'll throw it in the chat. I'll throw a video in there, kind of how this plays out. But expectations are very simple. So I'm going to show you guys how to measure an incline and how to determine the direction and how much it will pop out. Again, we're looking at likeliness. Likeliness of out to the up is less likeliness than down to the low, right? And it's very obvious the way this trend is trending. Like we hit the same trend we dropped over here on the daily, and we're basically following that trend to a T. Pressure's trying to build up, but again, we're getting consistent shutdown on the top, and we get consistent pressure buyers trying to push up, right? So that doesn't mean explosion to the upside necessarily. What it means is that buyers are stepping in heavily. They've built enough buying pressure to where they can sell into them. That's essentially it at the end of the day. And we talked about this many times, but my expectations for Bitcoin. So if you're looking to find the range of the pop out, right, the upside and the downside of the move of the current wedge, typically how that's measured is we'll get rid of some of this. So we'll delete this. We'll delete this. And I'm going to show you guys how to measure this. It's actually crazy. And you can look this up. Any Forex book will teach you this kind of stuff. It's pretty simple. You're typically looking to take the measured move of the drop, right? So everything within the wedge on the open end. So we're looking to kind of capture only to price, right? So we got price here and we got price here. So in reality, we could even like push it up to here and kind of say, okay, this is where the bottom of the wedge is, this is where the top of the wedge is, and we can kind of take the measured move from here, right? So that would be your measured move. And then from here, and you see here, draw a line to fill in the trading range, right? And then you would take that copied trading range and you would move up from that copied trading range. So, if we popped out here, it could be 32K. If we came all the way out and dragged this out, it'd be 30K, so on and so forth, 31K. If we remain in the wedge. So if we remain in the wedge, I'm looking for a short here. Already took a short, by the way. I have my stop well above 25K. My liquidation's like 30K, so I'm not too worried. I'm expecting price to pull back from this wedge, come back down to the bottom. Now, here's the thing. I have two examples here pointing down, right? I'll give you a third example, price moving up. We'll talk about that. More than likely, the up price will end up resulting in a huge down price. So either way, it's a win-win. Okay. Expectations of the move, here to here, boom, you're good to go, right? If we end up all the way out here, it's obviously higher. If we end up where we are now, then that's to the top of our trend, which is our overall trend, right? But I would say betting on this over betting on a breakdown, is not really the likely move here, in my opinion. We'll probably get a breakdown and maybe a pop out, right? But at the end of the day, I think it's a double bottom from here. So you got what I would consider a big W formation point here, right? That's why I think we're getting this wedge. I think we're getting this wedge because really I think the market's looking to do this. Look, move in, we'll get a double bottom, right, on the move. Now it doesn't have to be exactly, right? It could be like right here. And then we get a big move, right? And that'll be a W, as Nick likes to say, sell, right? And then that W will then kind of press down for that lower price range. So that could be the scenario we're looking at right now playing out. And it could be just a big boom in December or whatever, right? We see price pull out of October or September lows, because we'll probably get this low all the way into September. We'll see that price pull out of September lows, explode up to the upside. October, and then November, December, we kind of see that drop, or November we see a big drop, or December we see a big drop. Somewhere's in that, right? We'll see what happens with price. Price could even come all the way over here, really, and that would fill out our W. It would be a decline on price, and then we would see that rejection way over here, right? So this is ideally the move that I'm looking that I think we're going to move into. So I think we're going to move into this double bottom scenario currently, and then price will then reject off the double bottom and push back up. So I'm going to be looking for, to be real with you, and I'll be watching chart patterns to make sure this plays out precisely. But I'm going to be looking for this right here, a buy, right? I'm looking for a buy probably around like 191911 or 1199. And really I'm looking for a big move from that, you know, all the way to this like 27K range. And again, this would be our consolidation range too, if you think about it. And then this formation right here, just so you guys know, this is what we actually call a descending wedge. So we have an incline wedge and a decline wedge. An incline wedge is this, right? I know I've been telling you guys ascending, descending. This, the technical terminology for this is incline wedge. And then if it were a flat top and a run up, it would then be a ascending wedge, right? An ascending does break out. A descending does break down, right? And then an incline does break down, and a decline wedge does break out. So those are the two scenarios we're looking for. But as you can see, when I draw this bottom across this double bottom, if we catch that double bottom, this is an amazing look. Look at this. We've got the current top, we got the double bottom move. The double bottom then bounces up, rejects out the trend, and then we see price. Then what? Then come back down and reject. And this is an atypical decline wedge, right? So I'm gonna pull up a decline real quick and show you guys what this looks like. Again, this is just me looking at the market structure, looking at everything that's going on, and kind of, you know, making that move on what I'm seeing in the charts. So if we look at an atypical decline wedge, let's see here, because so many of these get it wrong. They always put a descending and stuff like that as far as a wedge goes, versus a decline, right? Because a decline wedge is a breakout. Let me see here. It's so hard to find these chart patterns for this one. Yeah, I'm not really finding one. We'll look at some here in a bit, but a decline is where we're getting pressure to the downside, and it's kind of like you're trying to get relief to the down, right? So that's your decline. And if we were in an incline, it would be different, right? So an incline would be something like we're getting pressure to the upside, and price is looking to break out. So maybe something like this, and then maybe something like this, right? We could say, okay, that right there, maybe it's not really an incline, but you get the point. Price is looking to break out on an incline. But obviously this wasn't an incline, right? It's a double top. So double top, breakdown, went, gone. I wouldn't even consider this an incline. I'm just showing you the shape of what an incline would look like. Okay, with that being said though, right now, this is what I'm looking for right now with a decline, is I'm looking this W to turn into a, you know, basically we can call it W sell, or we can call it just a W turning into an M, coming down to the bottom, price then hitting our lows, and then we look for upside from here. That's really what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for an all-inclusive move to the upside from here, like a lot of people are thinking. I'm looking for something more like this, right? So I'd like price to kind of range here, come back, retest that bottom. That will definitely, you know, fill out my theory, fill out this current incline wedge, right, that we're looking at here, and everything will look a lot more. It'll make a lot more sense in my opinion, as far as the move. So this is really what I'm looking for. That's a bigger macro. This right here is more the micro, right? So the micro move that I'm looking for is I'm looking for a breakdown from here, retest at the bottom, a retest of support / resistance, and then a breakdown through the move, right? Now you're probably like, okay, where's your TP? Well, the issue with the TP is you're going to get the break back up, right? You're going to get the breakdown, and we'll probably get the retest of the triangle. So really you should TP probably at the fair value gap here. And the reality is that price will more than likely double bottom at some point, right? So it's going to come back up, it's going to retest the high, and then I think it's going to come back down and double bottom here. Again, great opportunity to pick up some crypto for cheap, right? Now, does double bottom have to occur there? No, double bottom can occur here, right? It can occur anywhere in this range. I'm looking for the lower range, but it can occur anywhere in this range, right? And if we look at our OB over here, in reality, if we're going off the daily OB, like, hey, all day, you know, all day it can do that. All right, but outside of that, I'm looking for price to come back down, break down into a bounce up into a breakdown, or a breakout, right? Because structure can be broken on an incline, just FYI. A breakout into a breakdown, right? And that's where price just, you know, wheedles down. and then we get a tighter range here into a move, and then we get a drop. So with that being said, that's kind of the play. I am in a short, like I said, currently with BTC here. Got a short open, watching profit and stuff like that, watching the move, trying to see what's going on. So this is the short I'm currently in on Bybit. My liquidation, like I said, 2830K or something like that. I think it's let's see, 28,755. That's my liquidation. I have money to cover that worst case scenario. Now you're probably like, okay, well, how do you know it'll come down? Because if price breaks the triangle, the typical rule, okay, I'm going to tell you the typical rule. The typical rule is that this same upside that I showed you will technically be the same downside, right? So basically, we would be looking to break these bottoms, right? So we'd be hitting right around this 18.6 zone, probably lower, right? 18,252, somewhere's in there. If we drop here, this almost turns into an ABC, right? So you get the lower low. I would take this low and buy. Definitely get in on that position if that happens. If price, and it's not going to all drop at once, right? It's going to take its time to get out. So don't expect this to happen tomorrow. I'm just telling you. This right here I'm seeing as kind of the top of the move. We got the engulfing on the right of the candle on the daily. That's huge. I would like this candle to be engulfing too, but it doesn't have to. As you can see, these trends can play down for a while before they become engulfing. And then these engulfings like this, though, when you get like this, you're getting buy pressure, right? So if we end up starting getting engulfings like this, where it takes multiple days to get an engulfing of the previous move, I would expect a reversal. It seems like the atypical move that they've been doing is taking the reversal on those long weeks, or they're taking almost an entire week to play that out and reverse back up. But the reality is this thing's out of steam. A lot of things are out of steam. I know the anticipation is up. A lot of people are hopeful. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this is only 1K pullback," yada yada yada. Everything else, that I think there are people thinking that people are being negative. I think more people are being positive than negative. Again, we're seeing it in the stock market, especially. They're like, "Oh, only down like 0.5% or something like that." The people are not flinching at the price action. So the negative price action isn't doing anything. Markets are ignoring negative price action, and that's not a good thing. You should always pay attention to the signs. Again, so upside potential, high of all the way up to here potentially. So I'll put that price target right there. A low of potentially all the way down to here. So this is kind of your range on your overall from the current zone of where we're at. We're looking for a big move in one direction or the other. Now you're probably like, okay, what's the up move if we get the up move? Well, I'll expect a huge pop. I don't expect it to rally long, right? So we've got the build up. And if we get the big break, we'll probably hit here and then crumble, right? And I know you're probably like, well, you said that, it should be all the way up to here. Yeah, technically it should be all the way up to there. But at the same time, I'm looking at support and resistance. And if I'm taking a long from here, I'm getting out right here. I don't care about this. I do not care about this. That's being greedy. I'm getting out at resistance. That's it. I'll wait. I'll let price prove itself. And then once price gets up so high, then I'll take the short. That's just how I'm doing it. Same thing with the bottom, right? I can get all the way down here with the bottom technically, but I'm cutting out at the lows. That's it. So I'm cutting my short here. Price comes against me. That's fine. I got a long position set up to go in for a long if I need to. Now price could also do a fake out here, like I have shown right here. Basically, price breaks out, comes back down, and starts breaking down. So be careful with that too. If they end up doing a fake out, they're going to run it probably all the way up here to 26,562. So that's always been my anticipation is to recover this wick pretty much, right? Come back to that wick, hit that wick, and then come back down. So if we understand that, we understand what's going on, we understand the move. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. I would be highly, highly cautious about being optimistic. There's nothing macro, micro, any of that right now that's optimistic. Again, it was more optimistic when we were at the end of the FOMC, right? And the reason for that is not because the FOMC was positive, but it's more that we didn't have another FOMC until September. And a lot of people understood that. The Fed pivoting, again, you got to ask yourself, we talked about this, right? What's the likeliness? What's the likeliness? Is the current economic environment friendly to pivoting for the Fed? I would say no. And if you can tell yourself yes, then hey, now's a buy, right? If you tell yourself no, then you shouldn't be too optimistic about any rallies or anything like that. You should understand the move and understand, macroeconomically, there's a lot of issues currently. I've been doing some deep dives on macro and stuff like that, and kind of looking into what all's going on and everything else. You got Apple earnings up, Google earnings, like all the earnings right now are up. Like there's no reason for the Fed to necessarily backtrack on its moves to try and reduce inflation. That's the target goal at the end of the day. And unemployment's low. You got good earnings on a lot of companies. The economy can take it. That's what he's going to say. It's going to raise. Does it have to be 75? Probably not. Maybe 50, right? I'm looking between 50 and 75. I'm not looking at a 25 basis point hike at all. So either way, those are negative numbers. An actual pivot is the Fed reducing rates. There's almost no scenario where the Fed will reduce rates, in my opinion. So looking at that, I'd just be cautious with that. Coming over here to ETH. Looking at ETH, same thing. I really wanted to take the short on ETH, but I don't trust ETH. I'll be honest. We're getting a lot of, we get these scam pumps and then we dump, and then scam pump and then we dump. And really, they, like I said, the same thing with Bitcoin. They could really jump out and then just tank from that jump out, right? It could just be one big wick moving up out of position and then come back down. So be really careful with a lot of these. Good potential. They try to liquidate some people in these positions. Be very, very, very cautious. We already talked about this. We got the downtrend here. I'm expecting it to come down pretty far at some point. But they could try and catch the overall macro trend, right? Like what we talked about right here. If they try and push up to that, we're looking at 2290. And really that'll be the biggest incline it'll just readjust my incline. And then, the move will move like that. It's just, you're at top of range. This is top of range. Like to expectations to just blow out from here is very unlikely under the current macroeconomics. All right, so top of range, push price up. We'll see what happens at the end of the day. I'll continue to watch price on macro scenarios or micro scenarios as well as macro. So if the micro starts to get bullish, we'll look for upside. If the macro is looking bullish, then we'll look for upside. But right now the macro is not matching the micro, so we have a bit of an issue right now with current economics. All right, so moving into ADA. So just like we talked about, expectations was a breakout, and I think this breakout rally is going to end up failing and come back down deeper. This is a pennant, bearish pennant, continuation pattern. I was drawing a line across here to show you guys kind of what the trend is, right? And this is the trend. The trend's still bearish, right? If we delete the trend, we look at our support and resistances on the way down. We look at current price action. Price action broke out. I'm expecting price action to probably push up to, there's potential they push up to 76 cents like we talked about. They're going to recover the entire move right here, right? So the width of the move. That's typically what you're looking for. So if we're looking for the width of the move, this would be the width of the move. And then we're looking for a breakdown from that. So up and then down, or we're looking for down consolidation and then probably back up. So those are two scenarios I'd be looking for ADA. Yeah, this one right here, we already talked about Matic. You had the bullish divergence over here. You got the strength running up against the downtrend running down. These are really easy to spot, really good trade opportunities. Whenever you see bullish divergence, I usually take advantage of all bullish divergences. You didn't get the bounce. Price moves up. Price is pretty much consolidating. We now have an incline wedge right here, right? So we got the incline, and I think price will break down from the incline. I'm expecting price to break down, probably come back down to the width, right, of the move. It might come just above it, right about 78 cents, and then bounce at the 78 cents, come back up, probably hit about this $1.24 if price remains in the subtrend, right? If price remains in the subtrend, that would be my expectation. So kind of like a move like this, and a move like this, and then into a big move, right? That would be that big move right there. If price continues again. All right, Sol, same thing. Sol has been here for weeks. Boom, 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 boom. They just keep building, right? So this is the scenario that we talked about with ascending and descending. So this is what we call an ascending wedge, right? So typically these are notorious for break out, right? That's what these are. It's like you got water pouring down into the cup fills up and bursts. So, we could see this move actually rather than I'm expecting a breakdown into that breakout, but we could also see it just blow out, right? And go up to like $81. So a spot in this area might be good on Sol. You can see the what's it called? The volume here just died down pretty dramatically. Sol has been at a bottom for a while. Really, I think it's suppressed price. We can see right here, we're swinging up hard on the RSI. So because we're swinging up hard on the RSI's over here, stochastic, it's making me think more and more that price is going to blow out up here. As much as it looks like a head and shoulders, and we talked about this today, I am acknowledging that there's good potential that this solid top right here could be an ascending versus a incline wedge, right? So incline to be that direction, and then ascending is kind of hitting the same ceiling and trying to break through. So we'll see what happens here at the end of the day. The consolidation looks really good, but again, I'm not buying Sol at these prices. If Sol can't come down and recover this liquidity, I'm not even interested. I don't care how much it blows up. And really, you should set parameters based on the same thing. You have to understand crowded trades versus non-crowded trades, and Sol is heavily crowded trade. There's so much crowd in that trade. If we look here at Google, we had the consolidation. We talked about this many times. Google then broke out of that consolidation. Google needs to have some cooldown though. Google's been kind of just blowing out. It's over the 50. Stochastic way overbought. There's so many assets right now there, and this is on the weekly, by the way, too. This isn't a daily. Look, the weekly is extremely overbought for Google. So I'm looking for some major downside for Google. I think a lot of these things have like hit their peak pricing. Right here, same thing with Disney. Yeah, that's not normal at all for Disney. Not at all. Look at this. Straight up RSI, straight up stochastic. There's some kind of hopium in Disney that's going to get people wrecked. This is like an up into a dump. This looks like a dumpster fire, in my opinion. Amazon, expectations for price, we're pressing right up against resistance, just as discussed previously. I expect price to kind of pull back from here, come all the way back to this $123 range, probably consolidate. If we get some good consolidation here, it might be a buy in this zone. If not, I'll be looking for consolidation and a breakdown. We get to breakdown. That could be pretty dramatic for Amazon. And really, if we start visiting the consolidation zone, they'll grab the liquidity here and they'll really start pushing down, I think, by the way price action is moving. Come over here to Lucid. Again, Lucid, trade in the range. We talked about this many times. Top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. Easy trades. We are starting to build long on Lucid, so we can't ignore the obvious, right? Swing long, strength. RSI kind of diving down a little bit, so we could see that pull back down to the bottom. It would be a great opportunity to get in on this if it does do that. Adobe, we're in that breakout zone, so we broke above resistance. We broke above the order block. Now we're kind of in that zone where we can push price all the way up to like 486. That's my next resistance zone. I think that's going to be the top for Adobe, to be honest with you. If we look at RSI and stochastic, yeah, stochastic way overbought. RSI starting to run up over the 50. Everything's getting overly bullish, right? I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, people are bearish," but like if you look at all the metrics, everything's saying way too bullish, way too bullish. 2 year, I'm expecting. Obviously, I expected the breakout here, broke out. I'm expecting price to come back for the 2 year, all the way back to 3.045%. I'm expecting a move up from there, which is extremely bad for assets. Okay, extremely bad for assets. This could happen in days, weeks, or maybe a month, and then we see that explosion for the 2 year. Moving over here, Tulip's something I've been watching on the daily. Looks like it's coming back down to recapture some price action, probably back down to 350. That's I'd probably pick it up in the 346 to 321 range, based on previous consolidation zones. So if you can catch it around that price, you're probably looking at a good, decent upside. If you look here, it's way overbought and it's cooled down a lot. Stochastic's been way overbought too. They've been trying to pressure price up on Tulip. So I do expect that there's some interest here based on the RSI and the stochastic. Tweeter moving back up. We talked about this before. Double bottom right here. Looks really good. probably turn into a W, I believe. So I'm looking for the W to break out and then break back down, right? So good opportunity probably for a potential spot long here. If you like Twitter, I don't like Twitter, so I will only short it. That's just my opinion on Twitter. US oil pulling back. Again, I'm still waiting. US oil's got good support around $84. It's not really that overpriced. I mean, underpriced. U.S. oil is still very, very, very high. So I'd be careful with U.S. oil also. Um, we could see some decent pullback. I'm looking for $84 and then, possible pullback to the $75 range. And then we should be able to catch a bounce from there. We're still forming higher lows. So it's irrelevant. Even if it gets all the way back to $75 range, it could still go up from there. All right. Moving into BNB. Still rejecting. Possible pump here all the way back at the top, 337, but I'm expecting BNB to come all the way back down at some point in this $200 range. Nothing too crazy. Probably recapture the LB over here around 271. Could be looking to just get around, I'd say this right here. Yeah, I'd say around that 271 range looks good. Possible support around 292. So somewhere's in here for a TP if you're looking for a short. I would just be looking for spot longs at this point. Shopify. So this was the first one to signal the huge drop, and now it's the first one to fall over. So really, really concerning that Shop's back in this range, but it's basically in its chop range, which is right in here. So be highly cautious with the market due to that. Dixie pushing back up. Looks like it's consolidating in the zone, so that's really good for the Dixie outside of it being able to wreck assets as a whole. So really the Dixie, I'm still anticipating a big move for the Dixie overall. Dot over here, Dot pulling back to support. Hitting support right here. I want to see Dot come back and hit this consolidation zone over here, right? I'd like to see it around that $8 range. If I can catch it around that, that'd be probably a good position to be picking some up. For a spot long, again, holding trend on XRP. XRP is still spot long. And then potential low of 36 cents. Be watching out for. Goes any lower than that, that's going to be concerning. Highly concerned with the current yield curve. Yield curve is below the 2007-2008 crash. It's also getting below the .com bubble. So this could be the indication of a huge drop in the market. I would be really concerned if I were anybody looking for long-term positions because it's a good indication that can end up wrecking the market as a whole. Still expecting this head and shoulders to play out on AMD. AMD pressuring the upside, hasn't been able to move out this for 1, 2, 3 consecutive days. I'd be looking for a put on this all the way back down to roughly about $69. All right, so moving into Beyond Meats, I'm expecting Beyond Meats to come all the way back down, recapture all the price down here. If you want to be safe, take it at $29.54. That's where I'd be taking my exit. If you want to be extra risky, take it all the way down to $20.95. Looking over here at Clover. So Clover is just pretty much stuck here. Heavy pressure, right? And they keep rising price. So rising price, rising RSI. Stochastic's kind of in the middle. They had some room to jump up, but really they're just trying to dig out all the liquidity in the zone before I think before they move lower, to be honest with you. I think that's ultimately the goal here for Clover. Looking at KNC, kind of a similar situation. We're moving towards the highs, so I'd be really cautious. It could get a nice pop up to 2.20. Hero, I'm expecting a pullback to the 50, which we're already doing. I'm expecting a pop. I want Hero to see Hero run all the way to the top here. Stochastics matching my idea. We got price pulling back. Probably this is my pullback zone right here, about 0.008817. And I'd like to see them try and retest the highs around 0.01. Neo's blowing up. We got a nice W sell, so I think this might come back right here, form an M. We got Hot. So we had the bullish divergence. Hot's now on the run. We'll see what happens here. Hot's moving on the upside. My expectations for price on Hot is 0.003741 if it can get there. Nice little gain there. Currently, Hot is way overheated. Wink, wink. Stochastic's kind of high, so we'll see what happens here at the end of the day. All right, Ape's looking good. Nice round move, right? What I'm looking for here is an inverted cup and handle. And for those of you who don't know, inverted cup and handle is a nice round top. And then we get a bounce, smaller one, and then we get a breakdown, right? And then that price action price at around 414 roughly. That's what I'd be looking for. Uh, Tesla still looking beautiful. We got the nice incline or ascending wedge, and then with I said that right? Incline, right? Yeah, incline. It's nice incline wedge. Sorry, and then we got the nice decline broadening wedge. Sorry, I'm just trying to clean up my language a little bit because I know I probably get confusing to you guys. So with the broadening wedge, decline broadening, this is a breakout structure. This is a breakout structure. So do I expect it to break out now if I don't expect the rest of the market to necessarily run? No, I don't. Is it very bullish? Yeah, sure. I'm just expecting it to test the highs. It's just taking forever to get there. This could play out in another month or two. We'll see what happens at the end of the day. This is on the monthly. So I think this month we'll end up playing that out, right? And then I think rec timber is where we'll see that next move down. Now I'm looking for the $500 range if I'm looking at Tesla. I'll be purchasing Tesla around the $500 range, and I'll be taking that all the way out. I think there's good possibility we see some consolidation into a decline wedge from this broadening wedge, and then we see a breakout. I don't expect price to get all the way down to here. Just FYI, probably around this $400 range. We end up seeing that. I'm looking for a breakout really on Tesla. I think Tesla's big time, showing volatility to a point to where this thing's gonna moon at some point. Uh, CRV, CRV. Yeah, nothing too interesting with CRV. I don't know. I'm not super interested in it. I think it's kind of at its highs. It's hitting a heavy resistance right in here, right? If it goes any further, it's going all the way up to $1.92. So that's your potential high. But if it goes any deeper, it's coming all the way back to $1.14. And if it goes deeper than that, you're looking at 85 cents and then 68 cents. So just be cautious with this one. Not too much interest in that, I'd say, by the way the price actually moving at strength. I'm looking at a bull flag for gold. So I'm expecting gold to break down. So I think crypto will follow, right? And that's why I look for that September rectangle. So we need about 4 more days before this weekly candle closes. If we get an engulfing on the weekly for gold, I expect price to come all the way back down to the bottom of the channel, probably hitting around this 1642. There might be a breakout from here. So, it's a good opportunity to buy in, let it run, and then see what it wants to do up here. If it starts to stall out, take your leave, wait for the lower position, and, rinse and repeat until you catch that breakout. If you want to, too, you could wait for the low, buy in, hold, and wait for the breakout at some point, whether it be low from a lower position or higher. But these breakouts tend to be huge, right? So I'm expecting price to really kind of pop from this, come back up, hits the $2,000 mark, and then we're good to go. Hopefully, we'll see if but gold might be able to break out of the zone from here, and then if gold breaks out of the zone from here, we'll have really good price action. Again, sometimes gold could take 6 months for this to play out. But at the end of the day, that's the play. So we'll see what happens. We got VIX. I know a lot of people keep saying, "Oh, the VIX falling back to the." Look at the overall trend on VIX. What is the trend on VIX? The trend is still long. Nothing has changed. I know a lot of people are speculating on VIX, but like I'm telling you, like it doesn't matter if it's a 20, it doesn't matter if it's a 19. As long as the trend is long, it's long, right? For Bitcoin, when did Bitcoin establish itself? 2010, right? The trend has been down the whole time. That means exponential growth. When did it start to switch? Well, it started to switch over here in 17, 18, 19, and then 20, right? When we had the thing, market pulled back, and then boom. Then we had basically 21, where volatility went really heavy, right? And then we had 22, volatility got heavier, and now we're getting a pullback again. But at the same time, be really cautious because it's usually around this range is where you'll start to see that move up, and that's where you'll start to see dumping again. So we'll see that volatility start to spike. I'm looking for a move like this to occur relatively soon, right? So these type of moves, these big moves on the upper end of the move, typically signal reversals from what I've seen, right? So history has been pretty kind to us on showing us these things, right? As long as you pay attention. So definitely be careful. VIX could definitely flip back up to bullish again. We see that heavy volatility. We're going to see heavy swings in both directions. Won't be a fun time. We'll put it that way. 1718 crash was right down here in this little peak. And then if we see a big peak, we'll probably see that reversal. And that reversal, as you can see right here, that's kind of when that first crash, 1718 over here kind of occurred. And I think 1314 over here, and so on and so forth. All right, with all that being said, I would say that is your market update. I'm expecting the SPY to probably stall out here or roughly around 43.51. Those are my two stall out zones. All right, until next time, I'll see you later.